Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 7. I'm super excited because I love this book. I love teaching this book. I love talking about it. I love the conversations we have about the characters. Students in general really like this book, even students who don't like reading. So I hope that you have a good experience with it. So week 7, we're starting our next unit of study, which focuses, of course, on the book Homegoing. Beginning today, you will be able to see all of the modules within this unit. So if you're the kind of person who kind of likes to see the arc of where we're going, you can click through week 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 to see what we're going to be doing week to week. You don't have to do that, of course, but you do have that available to you. Right now, though, what I want to do is tell you a little bit about what to expect for the reading schedule, for the book itself, and kind of where we're going to be going this week. I will say before I forget that if you don't yet have your copy of Homegoing, this week we're reading the first 2 chapters. And I will say that after this week, every week until we finish the book, you are reading 4 chapters. So you don't want to fall behind, right? It'll take us 4 weeks to read the book. The chapters are pretty heavy. And so if you don't have a copy of the book, there are copies at the LMC bookstore. I placed several copies on reserve at the library, the LMC library at the Pittsburgh campus. So if you can get yourself to the library, then you can borrow those reserved copies to read in the library. So for those of you who have a lot going on, if you can carve out an hour or 2 and head over to the library, you could get your reading done in a quiet space. Like I said before, this book has been out for a while, and so you should be able to access copies at used bookstores, certainly on Amazon.com. And you can listen to the Audible version as well. For those of you who like to listen to books, that's fine. But you do need to use textual evidence for some of the responses that are going to be due moving forward. So at some point, you will need a physical copy of the book, unless you're just really good at transcribing an Audible, which I think takes a lot of time and maybe not worth that effort. So, okay. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to start the week by talking a little bit about fiction. The one thing I like about Homegoing is that it is a fiction book, right? Which means that it's not true, or parts of it are not true, but it is historical fiction because it is set against history that is true. So that makes it historical fiction. Each chapter is kind of like its own short story, but the chapters build off of each other. So they are independent, but they are independently linked to each other. So it kind of Homegoing fits a couple of different ways in which we read literature. So the structure of Homegoing, though, these pages for sure you want to make sure that you read, because the very first time that I read Homegoing, I didn't pay attention to the family tree that's in the front of the book. I was just like, I don't really need it. It would have helped clarify some things for me. So make sure you take a look at the structure of Homegoing so that you go in understanding what she's trying to do. She meaning Ya Jessie. That's the author, what she's trying to do with the structure. This Meet the Author video is really, really well done. It's with Trevor Noah from The Daily Show. There's a commercial there that I can't get rid of, but you'll be able to kind of get a sense of who she is and why she wrote the book the way she did. It's a short, really easily accessible interview, I think. And then the reading schedule here, so that way you can kind of plot out your weeks. If you're the kind of person who likes to read ahead, that's totally fine. All I ask is that once you head over to the Discord channels for each chapter, you don't do any spoilers. Don't give away anything until we're in that week for that particular chapter. And then the setting of Homegoing, right? I didn't really know anything about Ghana prior to my own reading of Homegoing several years ago. And so, the more that I learn about Ghana and its history, the more that I'm able to really connect to some of the themes here that she's talking about. Okay, so each week in the module, you will see that I have included these preparing for pages in the module. Preparing for chapter 1, Effia. Preparing for chapter 2, Essie. And the goal there is to give you some information that you are going to encounter in the book, okay, in that particular chapter. Now, You can choose to look at that before you read, or if you're the kind of person who likes to read first and then get the information and say, oh, that makes sense, you can look at them after. You will, at some point throughout these next few weeks, you will need to have kind of checked these pages out so that way you can write your responses appropriately. And that will make more sense once we head into next week and you have your first kind of reading response due. But the idea is to provide you with some of the background information that Ya-Jesse includes. She clearly has done her homework with this text, and she includes so many references. I'm sure I don't have all of them included in here. But there are some themes that she taps into that, that are kind of the other side of a single story, right? So it's all kind of connected, right? The history in terms of what's included and what's not included. So part of these preparing pages is my attempt to kind of help you move out of the single story a little bit with some of the history that she's talking about there. And there's extra videos here also. So this week, your primary goal is to make sure you have the book, read the first couple of chapters, take a look at the Discord invitation, right? This is where, and you'll see in our Discord channel that there's a channel for every, sorry, it's on our Discord server, there's a channel for every character. And so ideally what I want you to do after you've read the chapters is hop into that one of the characters' channels or both of them and talk about what you find there. What was new? What's disturbing? What was the writing doing that you thought was really good? What about the history? What did you think, right? Literally, it's a conversation about the book and about these characters. Because you'll find that there are certain characters that you connect with more than others. And then the last thing that you need to do for this week is your writing territory. And this week you are covering my favorite grammatical element, my favorite mark of punctuation, which is the dash. So I hope that you enjoy it. The one thing I will say about the dash, and you'll see this in the Khan Academy video that I have posted there, is that when you are using the dash, it's the hyphen key twice in a row. So there's no space before the first hyphen, there's no space in between, and there's no space at the end. So if you're typing along and you're ready to use a dash, let's say you're using it after the word what? W-H-A-T, hyphen, hyphen, T-H-E, and then whatever else your next word is, right? So it's literally two hyphens together that forms a dash. Now in Microsoft Word and in some other word processing programs, those automatically join together, and it's called an M dash. That is absolutely fine and acceptable. Not every program does that. It's not a big deal if it's not, but just so you know, it's two hyphens together. Otherwise, it's a single hyphen, and that's what you use to join similar words to make like words like 8-year-old, 8-year-old. That's different than using a dash, which is a more formal form of punctuation. All right, but you let me geek out about dashes. But I'm excited about starting homegoing this week, and I look forward to our conversations about it.